Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel for learning English, particularly for 12th board students. Students, today we will read the third chapter of Flamingo, Deep Water. It is a lesson written by William Douglas. You can see two pictures on this slide. One picture clearly indicates that one boy is drowning in the water, and the second picture indicates that he is very successfully swimming. So, the very theme of the lesson is clear that the boy in the very beginning had fear of water, and the story is all about how he was able to overcome his fear. So, let us understand this very interesting lesson, Deep Water. As the main aim of this YouTube channel is to make you self paced learners. That is to say, to make you well aware that how you will have to understand any piece of English text, any poem, any lesson without anybody's help. And for that, we have designed certain learning outcomes and also certain universal design of learning. So far as this lesson is considered, after this lesson, student will be able to explain that how a voice, persona, and the choice of a narrator affect characterization, tone, plot, and credibility of a text. We will talk about characterization, tone, plot, and particularly what is the choice of a narrator separately in the slides to come. So far as this text, Deep Water, is considered, it has been taken from Of Men and Mountains by William Douglas. It is autobiographical in nature and it talks about Douglas' fear of water and how he finally overcame the fear. It is written in first person narrative style to support his discussion of fear. Instead of just translating the lesson into Hindi, as I have seen most of the YouTube channel owners have done for the students, my pattern is that first of all I will talk about the basic or the major theme of the lesson, then I will talk about the sub theme, and then we will discuss about the language used in the lesson. And these three patterns, theme, sub theme, and language, comes under the category of UDL, Universal Design of Learning. Let us talk about the major theme of the story. So, the major theme of the story is a real life personal account of experiencing fear and the steps taken to overcome it. We will talk about the aversion to water that was developed because of a certain misadventure in life of William Douglas. We will talk what happened to him at YMCA pool and its impact or the result of it. How he was able to conquer that fear and what larger meaning from this experience he gained. So, in all, we will talk about his real life personal account, and that is the major theme, fear and how to overcome that. So far as the sub theme of the lesson, Deep Water, is considered, it is the psychological analysis of fear. You will find three major statements in the lesson, and these three major statements we can say are the value based sentences, or you can say the moral of the lesson. These sentences are: in death there is peace, there is terror only in the fear of death. The second statement is the statement of Franklin D. Roosevelt: all we have to fear is fear itself. And we will also learn that will to live is stronger than will to die. So, the sub theme of this lesson is the psychological analysis of fear. Now let us talk about the language. When we have to read any text, we will have to focus on the language aspect. There are three language aspects we will talk about. First of all, that when we have to talk about or share about the personal experience, just as Douglas has shared in this lesson, we will have to choose from which point of view or POV we will have to share that experience. If we have to choose the first person account, we will have to use the pronoun I, just as Douglas has done in this lesson. If we have to describe it from somebody else I, then we will have to use it from the third person point of view, and we will have to use the pronoun he or she. So far as the tense and structure is considered, you will find that most of the tense or the verbs are in past tense. Why it is so? We will discuss about that, and we will also talk about the tone of the lesson. What type of language, what type of words, phrases the writer had used in order to give whether an optimistic or a pessimistic tone to this lesson. Let us first of all talk about the point of view or POV. The story is written from the first person point of view. In first person point of view, one of the characters tells the story. As in this story, Douglas is the narrator, using the personal pronoun I. We know only what this person knows and see only what this person sees. So, when we have to answer the questions from examination point of view, we have to use the third person point of view, and instead of using I, we have to use the pronoun he or she. So this is one of the activities also at the end of the lesson that we will do. So this is very much clear that the lesson is written from first person point of view. And why is it so? As we will discuss it also. Talked about first person viewpoint, it is important because it makes story fast paced and urgent reading. It also gives story a credibility because whatever is shared, it is shared from the point of view of the character himself. So far as the reader and the writer's association is considered, it brings reader close to character and also conveys first hand emotions. As I told you, this lesson is not only about the deep water, but our chief aim is to develop reading habit among our students. So some of the examples of novels written in first person account are To Kill a Mockingbird, The Great Gatsby, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and The Color Purple. All these four novels are written from first person viewpoint with personal pronoun I, just as narrator Douglas has done in this lesson. Now let us focus on the tense and structure of the text. I am reading the text, and later on I will discuss that it is written using which tense or what structure and with what purpose. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. The Yakima River was precarious. Mother continuously warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. But the YMCA pool was safe. It was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other, the drop was gradual. I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. I hated to walk. Now notice the verbs used in the text: had happened, had decided, warned, kept, got. All the verbs are in past tense. Writing in the past tense makes the story feel more like it is being told rather than happening in the present moment. So, this is the reason why writer has used either simple past or past perfect, as there are variety of actions, or you can say multiple actions. The writer had used simple past tense for the immediate action and past perfect for the first action. And as we know that when we have series of actions one after another, we have to use simple past tense. So this is the reason why writer has used past tense, to make the story feel more it is being told. So it is a storytelling style. Now, what is the tone of the story? But before that, let us understand what is tone. Tone is the attitude a writer takes towards an audience, a subject, or a character. Tone is conveyed through a writer's choice of words and details. The tone can be humorous, it can be sad, or it can be friendly. So, in general, we can say the writer's choice of words, phrases, details that gives a story a humorous touch, or a sad touch, or a friendly touch is called tone. Here, the tone of the story moves from author's sadness for being away from water sports, but moves towards positivity by overcoming his fear gradually. So we can say that the story ends in a very optimistic way. So the tone is a happy tone. Now let us focus on the hard words, or we can say word attack. I have not given the answer of these words in front of the hard words. You will have to match it with the meaning of the hard word. Let us explain and let us discuss the words. The first one is precarious, and the meaning of precarious is dangerous. Next one is misadventure, and it means unfortunate incident. Then the third is subdued my pride. It means to overcome self respect. The fourth one is flailed at the surface. It means to strike at the surface of the water to come out. Then the fifth one is landlocked salmon. It is a type of fish, a separate species of salmon fish. Bob to the surface like a cock, and it means to show buoyancy. Curtain of the life fell. It means life came to an end. And the last one is back and forth across the pool. It means to move from one place to another and back to first place. You will find these hard words in the text, and you will have to use these explanations in order to get the meaning or what writer wanted to say. This is the most important part of lesson, and we will develop this lesson with the help of certain activities. So first of all, we will read the lesson with focus on vocabulary, plot and important events. As it is not possible for me to read the lesson word by word, I have provided you the PDF link of the lesson. You will have to read the lesson word by word using the dictionary, and we will directly come to the second step, that is to say we will simplify or abridge the lesson in form of summary, including all major events and message. So I have given you the important events, I have given you the summary that you can use to answer the long answer for the questions. And the third one is that you will have to write the story in third person point of view using third person pronoun with he in place of I. So these are the three activities that you have to do. You have to read with focus on vocabulary, you will have to simplify or you will have to write down the summary of the story, and you will have to use third person point of view to narrate the story from your perspective. Let us talk about the important events. William Douglas had a strong desire for swimming, but he was knocked down by a wave at a beach, and at that time his father was there and he just laughed. What was the impact of this incident or important event? he had aversion to water, but he decided to learn swimming at YMCA pool. There also the second misadventure took place. A big boy came and threw him into deep end of the pool. Now the major theme of the lesson is Douglas' fear of water. And what was the result of this fear of water? Douglas was deprived of water sports. He was unable to do canoeing or boating or swimming or fishing. And how he was able to overcome this fear? He hired an instructor and learned swimming piece by piece. And also he learned larger meaning from this experience, that will to live is stronger than will to die. This is the most important slide from the examination point of view, because I have given you the gist of the lesson, or you can say the summary of the lesson, which will be very useful for you to answer the long questions and also the short one. So I am going to read the summary for you. Instead of reading the whole lesson, if you will go through this summary, you will touch all the major events in the lesson. William O. Douglas had an aversion to water and a passion to learn swimming. When he was 3 or 4 years, a huge wave knocked him down and swept over him in the beach of California. Douglas suffered from hydrophobia. He joined YMCA pool to remove his old terror. A misadventure took place with him while sitting alone and waiting for others to come at YMCA. A bruiser boy came and tossed Douglas into deep end of the pool. 9 feet were more like 90 and his lungs were ready to burst. He planned to make a big jump upward but came up slowly and he swallowed water. Stark terror seized him. At last, he ceased all his efforts and he became unconscious. His fear of water deprived him of the joys of canoeing, boating, swimming, and fishing. This is the second part of the summary. The first part of the summary was all about his fear for water, but this second part is all about how he was able to overcome that fear. So here is the second part of the summary. He hired an instructor to learn swimming. He taught him how to inhale and exhale in water. He practiced 5 days a week and an hour each day. At last, Douglas went to Wentworth Lake and dived off at Triggs Island. He swam for 2 miles and he finally overcame his old terror. Will to live is stronger than fear of death. This is what he learned. By quoting Roosevelt, all we have to fear is fear itself, Douglas indicates the larger meaning that he draws from his experience. For him, the importance of life became evident when he encountered death. This is the activity that I have designed for you in order to develop the skill of inferring, interpreting, and drawing conclusion from the lesson. You will find 2 boxes, and in the first box I have written about the comprehension question that was asked at the end of the lesson, and on the empty box you will have to give the answer by completing the statement. I am reading only the first part and you will have to do the second part. Misadventure Douglas speaks about. For you, I am just completing it, that Douglas is speaking about the misadventure at YMCA pool when a big boy, just in order to bully him, just tossed him into deep water and he developed aversion for water. Here are rest of the clues for you. Series of emotions Douglas experienced. Result of this experience was Douglas was determined to get over his fear because instructor built a swimmer in Douglas by Douglas proved that he had conquered the old terror. There is terror only in the fear of death. Explain. The message of the story is. So this is the activity of inferring, interpreting, and drawing conclusion. Now let us do some authentic task. Authentic task is the task of implementing the skill that you have learned in your real life situation. So this is a writing task. You will have to write a letter to your friend about your having learned something new. It may be a sport, it may be music, it may be dance or riding a motorcycle. Recollect minute details of your feelings, your fear, and how you overcame your fear. So, this is the writing task for you. That's all from my side. Thank you.